We had to get this show on a Monday. We couldn't wait. We're in the studio a whole 48 hours earlier than we normally are. We don't record till Wednesday or Thursday typically.
Yes. Be how it is, as it may be.
So it is.
So
it shall be.
So it shall be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
I would just like to speak in the affirmative here.
Okay.
That we are recording said podcast on a Monday as such.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All
Just
right.
want to be sure.
Yeah.
We had double finales. We hit the Succession season 2 finale. We hit the Boys season 1 finale.
The boys.
It's like finale day here. And on top of that, we're live on twitch.com/bossrollin right now. BOSSROLEN, excuse me, for the first time ever. And we're broadcasting live video right now. It's very exciting stuff.
I'm looking at cameras.
Yeah,
It's
I can see you.
You know?
Yeah, I can see you.
I just waved to the people.
Oh my God, it's crazy. If you're live on Twitch with us, welcome. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or SoundCloud and you want to watch the video after the fact, it'll be available in one place after the fact, assuming everything today goes well. But in the future, for sure, you can watch live on twitch.com/bossrollin, or you can watch the video after the fact on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles. So live on Twitch, that's the idea. For every episode we do, we're troubleshooting still. We're in the learning process here with our studio Permanent Record, the great guys at Permanent Record who have got us set up with video, and we're excited to bring that to you. But still in the troubleshooting phase, still testing things out. The idea being by the end of this year, we want to be smoothly streaming every single episode of OCC we do live on Twitch, and then have video on Patreon for all the great members of the Mollusk Militia and Crustacean Nation to watch whenever they please.
That's really generous of us.
It is,
I would say.
Aren't we good people?
Yeah, just
the
very
fucking best.
very nice, generous boys.
Indeed. Speaking of which, on Patreon in October, we already did Movie Club. We went and saw Joker. We did an hour on it. It's available now. We have the Righteous Gemstones Season 1 wrap-up covering the entirety.
Righteous!
Yes.
Righteous!
Have you watched it yet?
No, I've not.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
I haven't either. Excited to have that.
I'm about to... we're recording that later this week and beginning this evening.
Mm-hmm.
No Stros.
No Stros tonight.
Monday Night Football game that I don't care about and that does not affect my fantasy
Doesn't it
game.
feel kind of good to have this night of like no important sports?
Yes.
I already won my fantasy game as well, so I'm like, I feel more relaxed.
Yeah, so I'm gonna jump into some jemmies tonight.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
I only have, I guess I have a half. I have the half of the penultimate and then the finale.
Nice.
And then you and I will be recording and talking about that later this week on Thursday. That'll be available on Patreon as well. Fleabag Season 2, full season talk and reviews coming. For those of you in the Mollusk Militia, our $10 tier, you're aware that you will be getting your hotline call extravaganza with calls from your Mollusk Militia exclusive hotline. And then, if you needed one other reason to join on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles, listen, the second you sign up, you're going to gain access to an entire backlog on Patreon, which means you'll get everything we did in September, as an example. Everything all the months before September. I'm not good with the calendar.
Maybe you're catching up on awards fair.
Oh.
And you go and you happen to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yes.
Why do I always forget if it's Hollywood or America?
Because it's definitely just Hollywood. I have no idea. Because there was a movie called Once Upon a Time in America, I believe.
It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, because the hashtag ends with an H.
Yes, but there was a movie called Once Upon a Time in America that came out in 1984 starring Robert De Niro as the elderly David Noodles Aronson.
That must be what I'm thinking of. Anyways, let's say you're catching up on awards fair and you go see this movie. If you are subscribed to our Patreon, then you can go back and listen to our podcast about that movie.
About Once Upon a Time in America.
In Hollywood.
Oh, in Hollywood. Yeah, that's on Patreon too. Everything we've ever done on Patreon is there. But today, for today's show, as I mentioned, we've got Succession Season 2 finale, The Boys Season 1 finale, and just kind of the season as a whole. We've got Michael Keaton's top 5, and then somehow the worst Jeremy Renner news of the year as well. Just when you thought things couldn't get worse in 2019 for Jeremy Renner, it turns out they can get much worse, Barrett. Have you seen the news today?
I saw the news. Yes, I did. Now, when going over our show notes here, there are some details that I had not heard about because I just saw a headline.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's not sounding good for our man Jeremy.
It's like this happens all too often with A-list actors, and we'll get into it later in the show, but a lot of them are, at the very least, if they're not scum, they've been accused of being scum. You know what I mean? It's a lot of them, man.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. This episode of OCC is brought to you by Lisa. Lisa, our longest-running sponsor here on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. They make the most comfortable mattresses in the entire world. Your mattress, obviously, one of the most important purchases you can make for your home, right up there with your television. And Lisa makes the best. I've been sleeping on a hybrid by Lisa for like 3 years now. Most comfortable mattress I've ever laid eyes or body on. Lisa's most advanced luxury hybrid is made with premium foams and springs for enhanced pressure relief with edge-to-edge support. The hybrid, thoughtfully designed with the best of both worlds. Lisa believes all people should have access to deep rest and relaxation, and as such, they make it easy for their customers to know they've made the right choice through their social impact initiatives tied to each purchase. One of the cool things they do is they donate 1 mattress for every 10 they sell through organizations that work in causes like foster care prevention. To date, they have donated more than 33,000 mattresses at Lisa through more than 1,000 nonprofits. Their mattresses are made in the USA. In-home delivery and setup is available. Financing is also available. Do not miss out, Clam Fam. Live healthier, live happier by resting deeper. If you've always wondered what it would be like to have the greatest mattress in the world, I'm telling you right now, it can be done. And you can get 15% off if you order today. Order today, get 15% off any mattress for a limited time at lisa.com/dragon. Use the promo code DRAGON. That's LEESA.com/dragon. Promo code DRAGON. Barrett, did you know Pulp Fiction hit theaters 25 years ago today?
I did know that because I saw it on the
on our Instagram,
aforementioned Schnotes.
Oh, and our Schnotes. Yeah, but I also put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction dropped October 14th, 1994, and seeing as that we recently did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Quentin Tarantino matters this year.
Yeah, we did a lot of talk about QT. General.
We did. I thought it would be worth noting. I mean, this movie, I don't know if you realize this, but Pulp Fiction is actually credited with almost like a Hollywood renaissance of sorts. It was sort of at the front of like, all right, everything's moving towards digital. And Tarantino is the king of like, digital is the death of cinema, as I know it. I think he's actually said that like 1,000 times. And Pulp Fiction, he obviously made in the very old school way that he makes things. And it is up there. It is probably definitively safely in my top 10, I would say.
Movies all time.
Ever. All movies. And it's one of the movies that got me so obsessed with movies because it was one of the first films I ever watched where I was like, oh shit, you can do things really differently if you're good enough.
Just 8-year-old you in the theater.
Just like, wow.
Just like eating popcorn, being like, man, this is a wild movie.
I want to commit a robbery. Yes. But I was like probably more like 13, I want to say. Something like that when I first saw it.
This also, I would say, I can't think of another movie that, I mean, this movie is, let's see, how old?
25 years.
25. That's, because we were talking about its 25th anniversary.
Because it's the quarter-century anniversary,
That's right. 25 years later, and how popular is that costume of John Travolta and Uma Thurman, like, from the diner scene?
Yeah.
It's still a go-to for everybody from, like, college kids to post-grads to celebs. Like, that is just a very, very...
And it's October, Barrett.
Popular, hot costume.
Hot.
That you can easily, you can be like, oh, I don't have anything, and then you figure that one out. That's it.
You do the if you're a chick and you're a brunette, you're like, oh fuck, I'll just be Uma Thurman, and all you need is a white button down that you rip open a little bit, you plunge a needle into your chest, and you're good.
Yeah.
Get a little Sharpie.
Yeah.
Some fake blood or whatever, you're good. Think about it though, all those epic scenes, the needle plunge scene being one of them. Samuel L. Jackson's reading of, I'm not Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson?
He's in the movie.
Yeah, his reading of Ezekiel, 25:17, when he does the Bible verse before he executes people. The gold watch story from what's his name, the fucking weirdo.
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken's incredible cameo. Jackrabbit Slim's the whole date really.
Yeah.
The dancing scene, though, the uncomfortable silences scene in the diner.
My favorite scene is the one where Christopher Walken is like, "You're talking to my man all wrong here. If you do it again, I'm going to stab you in the throat with a soldering iron."
Isn't that a different movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Slightly different film. What is it? That's Joe Dirt. That's Joe Dirt. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Another great classic piece of American film that lands squarely in my top 10.
Yeah.
Joe Dirt.
Yeah, the two movies are largely like lumped together frequently in conversation among diehard film buffs.
Almost the same film.
Yeah, I
really.
mean, yes,
Joe Dirt. Yeah. It could be like it's like a chicken and egg thing.
Right.
Which one inspired which?
Who's to say?
Who is to say? And then, of course, Pumpkin and Honey Bunny's diner robbery at the beginning and end of the movie. Great, great movie. Just wanted to touch on Pulp Fiction momentarily, give it a little bit of props, even if Quentin Tarantino is a bit of a psychopath. Let's do it. Succession Season 2, the finale. And this is our final meeting of the board members of Oysters Clam Co. for 2019.
I'm not going to lie. Just you saying that makes me, like, not quite the same level of sad as saying goodbye to Game of Thrones.
Your eyes are glossy.
But pretty upset. And I mean, not least of all because we came up with this Oysters Clam Co. and it's the,
it's the best saying we've ever come up with.
It's the best saying that we've ever
like
come up with.
We might change the name of the podcast.
And
frankly.
now I don't want to lose that. So I'm going to keep throwing that in there. Those will be my Greg sprinkles. I'll just sprinkle them all,
Got a little Greg sprinkle for everybody.
But yeah, final meeting of the board of Oysters Clam Co.
Okay, so let's first off, you and I, obviously from Houston, Texas, big time Houston Astros fans. The Houston Astros and New York Yankees in the midst of an ALCS battle right now that you and I were required to watch while Succession was live.
That is correct.
As a result, I saw motherfuckers on Twitter who have no respect for sports, for me, apparently.
Yep.
That know damn well, I follow them, that know damn well I'm watching the game, and they're still popping off about Ken.
This is the world and the media economy that we live in, because it's the same thing. It's like posting the concert video on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
These people are tweeting as like an indicator that they watched. It's
Yeah.
like cred. It's
Yes.
like I'm watching live and I'm tweeting my dumb take about it.
But that's
because, or my, oh my God, Ken,
yes.
to show that I just watched the Succession finale.
I saw a lot of Ken from the top rope, like, oh, Ken with the haymaker at the end. And I was like, well, clearly Kendall's going to do something.
The only show that this has ever been acceptable for to tweet during the airing
right.
is Game of Thrones.
But even then, okay, here's the thing. I take issue with this because it was people who know I'm watching the fucking Astros.
Yeah.
They knew. These are friends of mine. You know what I'm saying? We saw people on our timelines where it was like, oh, come on. Anyway, doesn't matter. Mike, you know what? Hit the theme music if you would. Hit the Succession theme music. We need it. We need it. We need to get hyped. Can they hear it on the stream too?
Now is this the new push-up version?
No, it's the regular. It's the regular.
You've heard pushes first.
Of course. Yeah, oh yeah. You know what? I tried to post it on Instagram, the Pusha T Succession rap.
Yeah.
And HBO promptly had it pulled.
Really?
Like 20 seconds. Their copyright algorithm was all this shit over that. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't want us to promote it. But anyway, there was our music. We had to play it to get hype. The episode was titled, This Is Not for Tears.
This is not for tears.
I would have preferred they call it the yacht episode.
It was a yacht episode.
Which made me very happy. You and I had a very limited amount of experience on yachts back in high school. We were fortunate enough to have a very wealthy friend who took us on a couple yacht trips. How did it feel to you watching the Roys live the yacht life that you and I have desperately clamored for since the age of 13?
Well, you know, This was I got all sorts of stuff in my notes here.
I have a whole computer.
I wrote mine today down on paper. Most of it is just filled with notes about yachts, honestly.
Paper. Yeah, what do you got there? What was the length of that thing? Who was the maker? What kind of finish did they have on the floors?
Here, one of my notes here is I just said 4 stories with 2 exclamation points. LOL, this yacht.
Dude, it was
like they're getting on the yacht at first, And I'm like, yes, I fondly remember my yacht days.
I remember stepping on board.
And then the camera like pans out a little wider, and you see that the width of like that back deck of the yacht
Yes.
is the size of a football field, basically.
It's a floating mansion.
And I was like, oh, this is different. This is different yacht.
It's the next level
I've
up
had
of
yacht. This is different yacht.
Yeah, you and I had like I want to say like a mid-tier yacht experience. This was closer to the top.
All yacht experiences are top tier, but this is just like a different level of wealth yacht.
But in the realm of yachts, there are still tiers.
Okay.
And we were mid-tier. We weren't on a bad yacht. Fantastic
Great yacht.
But a Roy yacht, it was not.
No. This is what I believe some people refer to as a super yacht, even.
Yeah, it was dope. It wasn't quite like oil money Saudi prince yacht, but it's like media billionaire mogul yacht.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, there are some. You are right. There is another stratosphere of these things that are just like spaceships, basically.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't quite that, but it was like.
What's that channel that always plays the wealthiest people on Earth's yacht?
I think isn't his name Robin something? It's on
know.
E, right?
I'll watch. Yeah, and I'll watch that. If I'm flipping channels and I go through the wealthiest thing, I'm watching that. Either it's houses or yachts, whatever.
Yeah, man, this yacht was sick. It was super sick, and I enjoyed the yacht porn here.
Yeah, the yacht porn was fantastic. But to jump around a little bit, so we end up on the yacht, right? But before that, Greg goes and testifies.
He does. Here's a note about Greg testifying.
Mm-hmm.
We learn what that big title of his is now.
What is it?
He's an executive assistant to Tom Wambsgans.
So
that's not exactly what
but was that his
felt
title?
Like he was angling for here.
Okay, I was under the impression that perhaps that was his title prior.
While he was working at cruises with Tom.
And so they were referencing his title that mattered.
Okay.
Because his current title, I do not, but that being said, maybe that wasn't the case, but I had the same thought when they mentioned executive assistant to Tom Wambsgans.
When they said that, I was like, oh, damn, Greg, I hope you bargained for more than that.
Yeah, and I think that was...
Look, executive assistant at a company like Waystar Royco to the head of news
is a big job.
Pays a shit ton, I'm sure, and is a role filled with responsibility. So
in the normal world.
I'm not knocking the role there. I'm just saying that for Tom, who is, doing blackmail and is part of the family, and is like engaging in the, just the best/worst type of nepotism.
Oh yeah.
You hope that you're getting more than executive assistant.
And I hope he did. We need to look in and clarify that, because if that's the role he ended with by blackmailing Tom, he failed horribly in doing so. But yeah, when he testifies, for whatever reason, Greg can only speak in like these biblical phrases, like, if it is to be said, so it is. Like, what? Him and Tom, clearly the least capable of handling the pressure that comes with testifying on the stand.
Yes.
But nobody funnier than Greg. Maybe in the whole world at this point. Like, dude, watching him stumble over his words and spit out like biblical style phrases was unbelievably funny.
It was awesome.
He's fantastic. Roman returns from Turkey and his terrorist experience over there, and he's like shaken, but like maybe stronger. This was the strongest Roman we saw this season, was it not?
Yeah, I think he's come back from this experience a little more seasoned.
Maybe a little more like, oh shit, life is real and it could be gone super fast almost. Maybe a little more like, I don't know. He just doesn't, like, as he's stepping onto the boat and everybody's giving him shit. He's standing up for himself more than normal.
Yeah, and I also got the sense that this was probably one of the first times that Logan had ever sent him on an errand or a mission that was like actually a big deal, that was a real thing. You know what I mean?
And then just like
with like that was a big load on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of I think it was sobering for him to be like, oh, this is the type of shit that I'm going to be expected to do
if I want a job
as a real player,
right,
in this company.
Yeah, because I mean, what do we see this season from him? He went to the training thing. He's trying to take steps to show Daddy, like, look, I could do this.
Right.
And then he goes to Turkey and experiences what is probably one of the most extreme versions of business negotiations you could experience. He comes back and he's like a slightly different dude, to the point though that he tells his dad straight up that he thinks the deal is shitty. Not specific. He's not very specific. He just tells him that he thinks it's shady, it's sketchy, it's not the answer, and that it might be horseshit.
Yeah, he doesn't think it's going to come through. He doesn't actually believe that these guys
are the real deal.
Have $10 billion to like infuse.
Yeah, he's become less confident in their actual abilities based on what he saw when he was over there. And I think just the general dicking around of all this, he gets the impression, look, these guys think they're playing a game. For us, this is serious. We're trying to save ourselves and get a fucking life raft. These dudes, they're just playing around on a whole other area of the world.
Yeah.
Right? But it was still cool to see him being like, I mean, in front of two other senior guys, one of whom immediately leaves the boat as a result. He was honest with his dad. No, this is not the deal.
Yeah. By the way, that event, some of our listeners on Twitter informed us, was actually a pretty direct reference to something that happened in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, I saw that.
And was like with that whole Jared Kushner deal.
Yeah.
Where he like maybe leaked the names of some people that opposed one of the Saudi Arabian princes, like trying to usurp the actual crown prince.
Right. So it was like a half reference to this.
And then the usurper basically stuck all these people in a hotel and took them hostage there, essentially.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty direct reference to that. They also, I just would like, I'm going to speak on your behalf, but we just make a lot of offhand jokes and one-liners and talk very freely. It's part of our brand even here.
Oh, for sure.
So when Ross says that he was hoping that one of them got shot, that is not like, we're just joking about the situation and the stakes that the characters found themselves in. Ross is not actually sitting there crossing his fingers, hoping to watch an execution on the show.
No, but sometimes I do on television and movies find myself hoping someone will die for the sake of excitement. It's not real. It's not real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see. I saw the 2 out of the however many thousands of listeners we have that were like,
I mean, we appreciate all feedback, and obviously, thank you for listening. And I just wanted to address them.
Yeah, sorry for anybody I offended by saying I wish one of the characters would be shot. But I stand by what I said. What else? Connor and the con heads are shit out of luck. The play gets roasted. Okay, the reviews come out.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be able to read one, man. I thought we were going to get a little bit of the roast.
Notes here. It costs roughly $2 million a month to put on a Broadway play, based on what we learned in the show.
Yeah, that's crazy
today,
as hell.
Which is pretty wild, you know? $24 million to put on a Broadway play.
It's a play. Like, what the fuck could you possibly need all that money for?
And that's a brand new one. I imagine that for some of these like super high-end Broadway plays, they're spending a lot more than that.
You would have to think so.
Yeah.
But some of them are fairly straightforward. Like, in terms of what they're spending the money on, I don't even know. We don't know what this play is about, just for the record.
True.
We've got no detail of that. But, like, for instance, when I saw Book of Mormon, very straightforward set pieces and shit, like, not super, 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 super complicated. But I imagine it takes quite a bit of money to keep all that stuff going night in and night out.
I think that if I think leads on Broadway plays also get paid pretty handsomely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Connor's screwed. The play is tanking. He's running out of money. And he goes to his dad and says he needs to borrow just a little $100 million.
Just a little $100 million.
Just a little $100 million.
It's not that because it's just $100 million.
Remember when people? What was it? Trump got what did he get from his dad? $1 million.
$10 million.
$10 million. This felt almost like another haha at that, like a guy getting $100 million request, and his dad's like, "Yeah, sure, we can think about that. We can talk about that if you drop out of the stupid race and stop embarrassing me."
Yeah. So honestly, what was the bigger wealth flex in this episode? The yacht or the fact that Logan will spend $100 million to get his dumbass son to quit his presidential campaign?
It made me want to know how much like liquid wealth he has.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I guess it probably wouldn't have been like a cash situation. It's like, you know what I mean? Giving him $100 million in cash, probably very unlikely.
That was probably not like a bank transfer of $100 million from one account to another.
But it was some kind of deal. Listen,
Sure.
You're going to get $100 million over the course of X or whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. The point is we're probably done with con heads and Connor running for president. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
In season 3. Oh, by the way, he became a GIF, and he was super excited about that. The con heads, at least they got one GIF.
They did.
Before shit hit the fan. Logan and Kendall go and meet with Stewie. Stewie's back. I feel like Stewie's one of your favorites. You like Stewie, don't you?
I do like Stewie.
Yeah. Something about Stewie.
He's just he doesn't get a ton of screen time, but he when he does,
He is very good.
he's great.
The actor, fantastic screen presence. Yeah, they go and try to strike a deal with him that's essentially what? We're going to give you there's a bunch of different shit that they're going to get out of it.
So they're basically, their offer is to like meet them halfway.
Right.
We'll give you we'll give you
more power, more
half
say.
the power, basically.
Okay.
We'll give you some board seats.
But not ownership of the company.
Yeah. And by the way, I still don't totally understand the end result of the proxy battle.
I don't think we've seen it.
Because it's like here's what I don't understand what they're actually fighting for.
Right. If
they win the proxy battle, that means that the shareholders will have voted that they don't believe in the current leadership of the company. But it doesn't.
If Stewie wins the proxy battle.
Yes, if Stewie wins the proxy battle.
Right.
So they will. That makes it sound like they will institute Stewie and Sandy as like the leadership, as the managers and the new runners of the company. But that's not a stock transfer. That doesn't mean that like the stockholders don't get to say what happens to the Roy family's stock.
No, I think the board, and I believe Stewie and Sandy are on that board, would have a say in who is going. That they would be taking control of the company and saying we are going to put the next person in charge.
Yes, yes. But as far as like the ownership,
right?
I'm not sure like how that would work.
I don't know legally can they buy the Roys out of their stock, or like what is the, I think X amount of stockholders would have to agree to sell to Sandy and Stewie in order for an ownership transition to take
I guess
place.
Larger point, what the Roys, Logan, and the kids are more worried about is that they won't have control over their own company any longer, and they will be pushed to the side and rendered like irrelevant as far as what happens to it
for sure
over its next 50 to 100 years.
Yes, the future of the company will be taken out of the Roy family hands and put in the hands of the board members and sharesholders and Oysters Clam Club.
Yeah.
Stewie flat out says no, and from there, dude, you know who had a hell of an episode? Maybe I don't want to give him like MVP or anything like that because it's obvious who that goes to, but Tom finally doing a little bit of standing up for himself to Shiv, albeit not in the most confident or positive manner. But at least he says something, like they go to that little cove, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, she tries to set up a threesome.
Yeah, I kept thinking that was like a euphemism for something. Like that was like, they were like kind of head faking us. Like the threesome was actually some deal to, put him in a better position to succeed with the ATN or news or whatever.
I was horny on the concept of the threesome the second they mentioned it. I was like, whoa, dude, are we going to get like a cool fucking hilarious sex scene? Because think about Tom, Shiv, and a third party having sex. It would be hilarious.
Right,
but
yeah.
Then I was like, we're never going to get that. This isn't going to happen, is it? And then it doesn't because Tom is uncomfortable. He doesn't like the way any of his life is unfolding now. He's been sort of used professionally as a stopgap or a bulletproof vest of some kind.
Sure.
His wife on their wedding night asked for an open marriage, which he's never been okay with and finally tells her. And what does he call her? What does he say? Down to be like get married, but with the option to gobble the occasional dick or something like that?
The occasional side dick.
The occasional side dick.
Yes.
And I mean, he gives her some truth, right? Now, not as stern as he probably should have, not really standing up for himself the way I think he should have, but gives her some truth. And it seems to sort of shock Shiv. Like I almost got the impression maybe she didn't realize just how horrible she had been to him. Like she's that selfish and wrapped up in herself that she didn't realize how she had been shitting on probably the most important person in her life that's not a blood member of her family.
I mean, I think she's absolutely feeling extremely guilty about the whole thing.
The way she handled everything, yeah. I mean, because the second she saw the window to step in and be the successor, Tom became even less important to her than he ever was before.
Now, having said that, I still feel like there was a bit of acknowledgement from both Tom and Shiv that this is maybe and felt like probably to me the end of their relationship.
Yeah, it certainly sounded like he was broaching the subject. I mean, he says what? Here's a quote. I wonder if the sad I'd be without you would be less than the sad I'm being with you.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, and I mean, he walks back in there and, thank you, Logan. Thank you for the chicken. And, like, eats the chicken right off
Dude,
Logan's plate.
Him eating the chicken off Logan's plate.
Was basically like an like, go for it. Do it to me. And I'll just, and then I'm out and I'll take the big payoff or whatever and be done with this.
I took it as him saying, like, listen, man, I'm going to start standing up for myself. This has been a total fucking disaster for me, and I'm not going to get pushed around anymore. And I love Logan's reaction. What the fuck was that? He's like, what was that? He just doesn't even know that was so good, dude. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where Tom goes from here. Like, or Greg, really? Our favorite duo, Tom and Greg. Like, what is going to happen with these two dudes next season? Like,
it's pretty clear where Greg's going.
Where's Greg going?
Team Kendall.
Yeah.
He's the one with
Gets
the
on the chopper with
the documents, baby.
So, did Greg...
Yeah, he teamed up with Kendall.
Okay.
That's a 2-man operation right there. Possibly a 3-man.
How much are you crediting Greg for what occurred? Because I'm seeing people trying to say Greg is like the puppet master who pulled the strings here by plugging Kendall in with those documents and shit.
Yeah, I don't know when, but I think Greg went to Kendall
and said, "This is what I've got.
This is what I've got."
And it's the stuff he got from Tom and his experiences with Tom and working with Tom
and the few papers that he was able to salvage from the burning.
Okay, so that evidence that Greg used, that he is now teaming up with Kendall, is what we're going to see presented next season in an effort to dethrone Logan Roy and install someone else.
Yes.
Let's get to the conversation between Logan and Kendall. Logan brings Kendall in at the end of the episode after all this back and forth about who's it going to be, this blood sacrifice. We go over every possibility on the ship, right? Who each person, why they would be good, why they would be bad. And after all that, Logan decides on his second-born son. Did you notice that, by the way? The way they slipped that in there?
Mm-hmm.
They get the firstborn son line in, and then it like pans over to Connor real quick, and he's just like, you got to be fucking kidding me. It's like I'm not even here.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm sorry, second-born. He turns it all on Kendall, decides that Kendall is the guy. Tells Kendall he is not a killer. When Kendall asks, did you ever think I had what it took to do this job? Did you ever really believe that I could do it? And his dad's basically like, no, I don't think you have the killer instinct that it takes.
Yeah.
And immediately Kendall...
You're not a killer. You have to be a killer.
And then he's like, well, I'm going to go kill.
Yeah.
And he kills his dad. I mean, it doesn't kill his dad. That's not how they show. If you're listening right now and you don't watch Succession, Kendall did not kill his father, Logan Roy. But he gave him the kiss of death.
This was also... Okay, let's talk about the kiss real quick.
Yeah.
Was that... is that like straight out of The Godfather?
Yes.
There's some Godfather shit like that?
I mean, the kiss of death is from the Bible, I believe. Like Judas gave Jesus a kiss that was like...
That felt very... It's been a while since I saw Godfather.
Well, there's a Godfather scene. 2. I've watched it 100 times. New Year's Eve, Michael and his people are all in Cuba trying to organize this deal, and his brother Fredo betrays the shit out of him. So he approaches him on the dance. He figures out his brother Fredo is the one who's betrayed him.
Yes.
Approaches him on the dance floor. He grabs him by the face and he says, I knew it was you. You broke my heart.
Yep.
And he kisses him on the mouth and it lets him know. It destroys him right there. It's over. That man's life is kaput.
Yep.
And it did feel, I mean, the second he planted that kiss on a man's cheek, you had to have gone, uh-oh, Ken's about to make a move.
Well, I was unsurprised by the ending here because of all of the things that had happened in this episode. My first big clue was Logan basically effectively kicking Naomi off the boat again, or off the scene again. This time it was a boat.
Yes. Because as he explains it to Kendall, because he's worried she'll get him all fucked up on drugs again.
Right, which is the opposite, I believe. That's not what he's worried about. Naomi tells Kendall what he loves is like the broken you. And I think he sees that Naomi is kind of like a light for Kendall. Whatever they're doing, whether or not they are like codependent or enabling each other,
right?
It's kind of beside the point. Like, I think Logan sees that when Kendall is with Naomi, he's a different, better, happier, stronger person
more
that is
capable.
like more comfortable in his skin and like not the shell of a man with the shrunken shoulders
that he can use.
He can use. And so that's why I think he's always kicking Naomi off. And I thought about that scene and I was like, how many times in history and in movies and in just storytelling in general is it like somebody's okay with like being kicked themselves, but then when you get in the way of a relationship that they care about,
then they'll stand
with
up.
another person.
That's often how people are.
Yeah, that's when they that's kind of the no, I can't.
It's the breaking point.
I can't have that. Like,
yeah,
I can't let
a
that
lot
happen.
of people can take the kicks if they're aimed at them.
Yeah.
The second you point it towards a loved one or like a girlfriend or a wife or a kid or whatever, then it's on. It's a totally different story. And in this case, like I almost got the impression that Logan was hoping one of his kids would do this. It was almost like he was subconsciously or consciously even pushing his children to see who would have the balls to sacrifice him to the wolves and to take shit for themselves and take the helm. And his smirk, Logan's smirk at the very end of the episode as he's watching Ken effectively ruin his life and legacy on television. That smirk he gives off to me was like there's a level of pride there. Like, my boy finally did it. He finally stepped up and did what had to be done, which in this case just happened to be taking out his old man, but it still needed to be done. And there's lines in this episode that Logan has that make me think, like, was one where he says, like, the obvious choice is me. And he's speaking to himself as who should be the leader going forward. But it also rung true to me as, like, he was the obvious choice for the blood sacrifice. Like,
wait, which line are you talking about?
At one point on the boat, he's asking who it should be. Like, who should be next to step up and lead this company? And he says, the obvious choice is me.
Oh, no, that's he's saying that he's going to fall on the sword.
Oh, he was saying he's the obvious choice for the blood sacrifice.
Yes, and then lets them all do the feigning.
no,
like, no, it can't be you. It can't be you.
But even in that moment, like, there was like a little bit of truth to that almost. Like, well, yeah, he is the obvious choice for the blood sacrifice. He's old. Get this. Old as shit, barely hanging on mentally.
Yep.
Marcia, I believe, left him. We find that out this episode. She's gone. He says, I miss her, at least. I don't know where she is. In every way, he's the perfect... It's over for this guy almost, right?
Yeah,
like,
well,
he's lived it. It's done. Like,
and
it's time to fall on the sword.
The big investor at the very beginning of the episode, Philippe Layton, they even ask for it to be him, basically.
Yeah.
That's what they say on the phone call. So that's another thing that when he's talking to Kendall about why it has to be Kendall, and he basically says, it can't be me. They won't let me, basically.
They won't let me.
And that was horseshit. In fact, they asked it to be you.
Yeah.
So
But don't you feel he couldn't do it himself? Like, it was almost like...
I definitely think that the smirk at the end had a lot
something.
of pride there.
Yeah.
I think it was pride, and I think that was some pride in Kendall for becoming a killer. But I don't think this is what he anticipated. I think that he did...
I don't think he anticipated
go
it
in
either.
thinking that Kendall would just be the dog with his tail between his legs.
But
and take this.
But I do believe subconsciously he knew he was like, all right. If you go back and think about all the shit he did this season to Kendall, I mean, one of two things was going to happen. Ken was going to reach a breaking point and kill himself, which he was very aware of, putting up the fucking barricades on the ceiling, on the roof of the building.
Yeah.
Or he was going to turn the page and snap out of it and fucking make a move. Logan, knowing those were the only two options and actively attempting to prevent one of them, makes me believe that somewhere in his heart he had to have hoped my boy will snap out of this drug-addicted trash life he has got for himself and fuck me and take the realm.
Yeah.
Like, take the helm.
There's also, I mean, the line about you have to be a killer, you're not a killer, was also interesting because, well, he kind of is a killer because he kind of killed that kid.
I was waiting for him to be like, you actually cleaned up a killing. But I mean, technically, he didn't kill the kid.
And then goes so far as to, like, call the kid the, no real person involved thing, saying it was, like, that seemed just extra callous.
Don't you?
Like, not
that's what I'm saying,
that
though.
He needed to throw in there.
It's like he was pushing him.
So maybe, I mean,
like, come on, man, it's time. You know what I mean?
Here's the other thing I was thinking about, and I'm interested to hear your take. Just possibilities. Not saying that it's what I think, but this was another tip off. Is like when Kendall is about to go and talk at the press conference, they say, "Dad's watching," and I knew that meant that he was gonna like go this route.
Yeah.
And then Shiv comes and sits on the couch to watch, And she kind of shakes her head and goes, "Poor bastard."
Yeah.
And that kind of felt like it could be about Logan or Kendall.
Really?
Because I was still kind of holding out like this theory that like maybe Kendall and Shiv had this planned out. Maybe this was the play.
No.
Because Shiv's talking about how she wants to get in there and she wants to change things and she wants to get rid of the bastards that were responsible for all the stuff that was happening on the cruises.
Right.
And she had that moment with Kendall earlier in the season. And when given the Sophie's choice between Tom, who, well, she frankly doesn't really care all that much about, or at least hasn't
It didn't appear
shown
so the whole season.
Yeah, shown like the emotion towards him.
Right.
She chooses to like throw her brother to the wolves instead of Tom. And so that could be explained as like, well, now she's feeling really guilty about the Tom thing and she thinks Kendall can handle it or deserves it more. But I don't know. There were just some signs there where I felt like, well, maybe this was the game. Maybe this was the play.
I'll be interested next season, among many, many other things, to find out. I believe we will get more on how this unfolded.
Oh, for sure.
On how this last several minutes of this episode came to be, because there had to have been some conversations there, at least, but between obviously Kendall and Greg, but also maybe we do find out that Shiv was aware of what was about to happen. I'm in the camp of she said, "Poor bastard," thinking full well Ken was still going up there to fall on the sword.
Yep.
But I'm curious to see. I mean, obviously, she's one of the major beneficiaries of him going up there and doing what he did. She's now back in an incredible position.
Right.
I don't know what happens, like, in terms of the drama that this will create. It seems the proxy battle is all but lost as a result. So I don't know how they maintain control of the company. They're going to have to find a loophole. They're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because, it's also possible that gains them votes back because, like we talked about, like they kind of wanted Logan for this.
Yep, that was one of his main
They're
shareholders he was on the phone with.
They're good with his plan forward, but they need him to be out. So we'll see. They just crushed this episode. Now I'm salivating for season 3, man. I got to know what happens.
How long is this going to make? Are they going to make us wait like a full 2 years, or is this going to be like a 2020 thing?
I don't think they're going to do that with this one.
It seems like this would be a little more straightforward to film.
None of these actors are necessarily like the ones that are like, oh, well, I'm shooting 4 movies already in 2020, so I can't even get around to doing this until next December. And it's like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this comes out in a year.
The season as a whole, with the way that they wrapped it up, I'm hesitant to say that it was better than season 1, but it was right there. If it wasn't right there, it's one notch below.
It did not miss a beat for me. This is the most fun and the best television show going right now.
It is. I believe so.
One thing I was really taken with this episode, when they're all sitting around the table on the deck of the yacht, just passing the buck from one person to the next, talking about basically saying, okay, well, it could be me. I see it. But you know who it should really be?
Yeah.
It should be this dumbass right here. Yeah. And it's going in a circle. They're sitting there having a conversation. Nobody's voices are even raised. And I was so tense, like wondering how this was all going to play. Like, oh my God, who's going to be? Who are they going to decide on? And it's just like, they're able to, when they have everybody around, just like jostling like that, the show just hums, man. It's crazy how they can do that. And
with like 10 characters on screen at once.
Right.
And they're all unique and individual enough and very. Think about each of these. Even those smaller, like, fucking guys that I don't even remember their name. The 2 white dudes who were on the boat. Their executives. Carl. Laird. Even those 2 guys, like, they have these very distinct personalities and energies to them. Every character on the show is phenomenal. The season wrapping with Logan sort of being the blood sacrifice himself was just poetic.
Yeah.
And I'll ask this last question about Succession. Do you think we get through season 3 with Logan Roy alive?
Yes.
Because we talked about that. That was one of my concerns with this season. Like, all right, old man is his health is hit and miss. And then really this season it wasn't touched on much. It was like he's recovered from the stroke and he's seemingly all there, but he has these weird moments where he's a little fuzzy or whatever. But like there has to be a point where the alpha of this family is removed.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think that long term, this show will probably eventually struggle with
how to handle that.
How to handle all of this.
Because it's going to be fucking hard.
This is like, I want this show to go for like 8 to 10 seasons, but this is probably one where if they could just like hit, if they could just hit eject and land this plane after 4,
dude,
that would probably be really smart. That would probably be the best way to execute this and like make every single season as good as these first 2 were.
Yes. Will they do that?
So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Because you can't just keep having this like,
no.
Now it's Logan.
No.
Now it's Kendall.
No.
Now it's Logan. Now it's Kendall. Now it's you know what I mean?
And that's kind of the other thing they have to find in this next season is like, okay, what is the angle going to be that differentiates? Because we really rode the same wave season 1 and 2, and it's time to flip it up. Like it cannot be that. We cannot Handmaid's Tale ourselves here and keep hashing the exact same problem over and over and over every season. So we need them to find a new creative angle for where this thing goes for Succession season 3. And I believe taking Logan out, I'm not saying in the first episode, maybe halfway through or something, would give you some juice. And I'm 100% with you. If they go more than 4 or 5 seasons, it will get ugly. And the thing is, HBO is very good about this shit.
They are.
Game of Thrones is really one of the few that you could point to that the landing didn't stick as well as you hoped it would, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, these shows that blow it, that's like Showtime and shit, man. They don't blow shit on HBO very often. So I've got a lot of faith, especially because the genius of these first 2 seasons was something else.
It was,
great
man.
show.
Yeah. Before we adjourn this board meeting at Oyster Clam Co., I did just want to go over a few of the hilarious sayings and phrases and lines from this finale.
Please, God, do.
Tom was the one who, at the congressional hearing, quote, farted in his shit. But that's okay. He was just dead catting, Ross. He was dead catting.
I heard some people say I was dead catting. They're like, what? What the fuck are you talking about, Tom? What was his explanation that you act? What was the dead catting?
I don't even. You act like a dead cat, and people are like, oh, hey, it's a dead cat.
His explanation was so stupid. It was like when somebody sees a dead cat on the table, they're distracted from everything else that could be,
because the dead cat,
And then there were the voices about like going to and being saying real emotional things with your siblings.
Let's talk about our feelings.
Let's talk about our feelings.
They were doing like Muppet characters.
Yes, it was
something.
Muppetish. It was very Muppety.
I feel like they just were like, hey, Jeremy and Sarah, can you guys do weird voices? And then they just both had like
Muppets.
random Muppet voices
And ran with it.
And yeah.
But again, it was like, okay, so the takeaway there obviously is that these children, these adult children, are so incapable of expressing their feelings and talking about real emotions and shit that they literally can't even get through a conversation about maybe broaching some of that without doing Muppet voices.
You're right. They immediately just ridicule and shame Roman for even
talk about your feelings?
suggesting it.
Yes.
Lastly was, when Logan and Connor are having a discussion about potentially giving Connor $100 million, he says, I hear you jizzed $500K on a fake Napoleon dick. And Connor says, that's irrelevant.
We need to know what that's a reference to, though, right? Like, we didn't see this at any point, did we?
No, when Connor is buying, he's talking about all of his Napoleonica collection, and he is like imported in what is supposed to be Napoleon's penis, like dried penis.
What? How did I miss this?
And he spent $500,000 on it.
I got to go back and watch this. Is it supposed to actually be Napoleon's penis, or is it supposed to be like they put clay around his penis and made a sculpture?
No, it's like mummified penis is what it's supposed to be.
So he is supposed to
it's
have
like dust. Is what he
$500,000
for Napoleon's penis.
That is incredible.
Yeah, which is part of his collection of Napoleonica.
Okay, need more Connor. As much Connor as we. I feel like this was a good dose of Connor this season. If we can keep him in the fold, doing hilarious and terrible shit without actually mattering at all.
Yeah.
But enough comic relief, like that dude rules. This is his second best part outside of Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
And they're like 40 years apart, which is hilarious and weird. But yeah, Succession season 2. Great success.
Quite a show.
I would argue. Great success, huge step forward, gives us an incredible amount of drama to step into with season 3. I love that sometimes these shows, you can get almost too much finality in a finale to where you don't have much to look forward to. Like, whoa, what's next season going to be about? Not with Succession. They've done a great job of keeping
this was the perfect mix of like it would put a solid period on this part of the story and also cliffhangs you for moving forward. It was perfect.
Stoked. Today's episode of OCC is also brought to you by Vinci Arrow watches. You are not going to find sexier value in the watch industry. I have the Rogue in black and rose gold. If you want to pull it up on VinceRowWatches.com and check out the Rogue in black and rose gold. That's the one I have. It's my favorite. Elevate your game with Vinci Arrow's handcrafted luxury watches at an unbeatable price. It's an absurd price point for what you're getting. Absolutely ridiculous, because Vinci Arrow provides bold timepieces, always putting quality above all else. Whether you're looking to make a statement or add a staple piece, Vinci Arrow has a watch for you. If you want to change it up, if you're one of these people who needs constant change in your life, all of Vinci Arrow watch bands are interchangeable. You can switch them out, different colors, different styles, best value in the industry, exceptional standards. Vinci Arrow exceeds expectations in style and quality. I'm honestly in awe of their products, and so are over 16,000 others who have written 5-star reviews over their Vinci Arrow. Get your Vinci Arrow watch today with a special offer for our listeners. Go to VinceRowWatches.com, enter the code DRAGON at checkout for 15% off your order, and worldwide shipping is always free. That's VinceRowWatches.com, promo code DRAGON, VinceRO Watches.com, promo code DRAGON for 15% off and free shipping worldwide. Go grab yourself a sexy Vinci Arrow watch. Also make great gifts with the holiday season approaching. Barrett, The Boys Season 1 finale.
The Boys.
The Boys. We did not talk about the finale last week because I wasn't there.
We didn't. We left it all out there.
We left it hanging out. We took it out. We left it hanging out. It got a good air dry.
Yeah.
And now we're here to discuss.
Yeah. There were some things I couldn't say because I'd already seen the finale.
A lot you couldn't say. I'm not sure how you did it, frankly. I was asking so many questions about like things that actually got addressed, and you were like, yes, I am dead stone-faced and not giving anything away. Good job, dude. Because, there was like 3 scenes where I was like, nice, Barrett. Way to not ruin this. But okay, I guess we'll just start with the finale, and we'll kind of talk about the season as a whole from there.
Yeah.
First of all, in the finale, I was dying laughing at the Deep's only role being that he's still in Sandusky, Ohio, and he's told he's not being brought back up to the 7, and then they just play Everybody Cries anytime he's on screen. And then he shaves his entire body, including his head, while he calls himself a fucking idiot.
Yeah. This was, I felt like they played this really well because his situation was obviously like so shitty, and it was like fake sympathy for him with the Everybody Cries.
Yes.
And then, I mean, he really gets it back with the gill fingering.
Yo.
Good Lord.
Okay, so that wasn't even in the finale, but I made a note of it because it was so disturbing and I didn't bring it up last week. Could have gone without that. The freak he brings back to his house and she just wants to finger his gills.
Yeah, that was weird.
Why?
Because,
what was that about?
Taste of his own medicine, right?
Was that sort of the...
I think it was kind of like...
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if she was doing it for that reason to
I think she was just a weirdo.
Pay him back. I think she was just a weirdo. But it was to like put him in that type of uncomfortable situation.
So I've got a question about the Deep. He's a fish person.
Yes.
He has gills.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the only member of the 7 that is physically like a mutant? Like physically, he is different than everyone else. Like
yeah.
He's got gills on his.
I think out of the 7,
rib
he is.
cages.
I think out of the 7, he is.
It's weird.
But clearly, like the compound V manifests itself in various
different ways. Well, I'm interested to find some of that out in season 2 when we get there. Like how the V, because obviously it's one of the great big reveals this season, is that these superheroes are being created and these super terrorists. How the V instills itself in a human being, and then how it decides which powers to pull out of them. Whereas everybody have a certain power that if you put V in them, it would come to light.
Yeah.
Or what the deal is there. That'll be interesting to see. But yeah, the Deep, man, that dude looks funky, shirtless. That his whole season was just sort of he's just trash.
Yeah,
he's a trash.
but I will say,
Or trash fish.
I will say, shouts to Chase Crawford for going for it there because
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he just shaved his head for real for that scene.
Do you think he did? Just
I mean, I don't know how you fake that.
I don't either. It looked fucking real.
That'd be like better CGI than Fast and Furious if they somehow.
How is that your example? The greatest CGI ever made.
I
Fast
think he
and
really.
Furious.
I mean, I would be willing to bet money that he actually just shaved his head for that scene.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
What else? We find out Homelander is actually the one, with the help of A-Train running around the globe for him, who created the soup terrorists. So obviously it was sort of pointing us in the direction of the Vought executive, what's her name, Madeline Stillwell, that maybe she was the one behind all of the soup terrorists, but it turns out, no, Homelander. And not only was it Homelander, he had A-Train running around doing these errands for him and delivering this shit everywhere.
Yep.
And what does he say? He's like, not all of them survived. Like, so who knows how many he tried to create?
Right.
And then who knows how many actually worked? We know at least one, which I assume is going to be a serious fucking problem next season. And yeah, it was Homelander. And when he tells Madeline this, it gets her really horny. She's like super into that.
Yeah.
That he was willing to go there and do that for her. And she like makes out with him.
I mean, it's going to make her
rich,
wildly wealthy.
Very, very, very wealthy. Yeah. And obviously the idea being that the government would need him more than ever. And money and power is all that drives him and Madeline Stillwell. So he's pure fucking evil. We need Homelander backstory in season 2. I got to know what the fuck happened to this guy to make him so hateable.
Yeah, the reason I liked this is because one of the questions that I had kind of halfway through this season is, what is stopping people like Homelander and the other soups from just being like, nah, Stillwell, you don't have this job anymore. It's my job now. I'll take the money and all of the control for what happens here at Vought. And if you don't let me, then I'm just going to kill you and anybody else that gets in my way.
So I think the setup has always been, like, we find out in this episode, we meet some of the people above Madeline Stillwell. We meet Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
Yep.
And
Great cameo there.
I think the impression that they've always given to these superheroes is, look, without us, you're screwed. You're nothing. So it's like almost they put them all in a position like, y'all are going to do the work. We're going to handle all the bullshit management stuff. And at any point when there's been an issue that maybe a superhero would have stepped up and said, Madeline, you're out. I'm going to run through you real fast, and then you'll be gone, and then I'll do the job. She's always had something on all of them, right?
Right.
She's got stuff on each and every one of these. It's all blackmail and fucking, it's a sick place. Vought.
Yeah.
Not a very clean company.
No.
Lots of issues. But yeah, Homelander, really, really sick dude. And what happens is Madeline Stillwell ends up bringing him back to her office for a little bit of nookie, reward nookie, if you will, to say thank you to him for creating soup terrorists and making her an even wealthier woman. And it turns out that Homelander is a bit of a Minuteman. Doesn't make it very far, partially because she's baby talking him and calling him my special, special sweet boy. It's very disturbing to watch, like, motherly sex. That was not what I needed. And a lot of this show is like, you're like, oh fuck, dude, what's wrong with these people? And Homelander obviously being the number one, what's wrong with this guy? Character with the breast milk obsession and the 1 minute orgasm and it was all very, very disturbing. Butcher goes to Grace Mallory, the woman who is apparently like the
Mama.
Now what Jim Carrey
is
does.
liar, liar. Yes. That's like, mama. Yeah, that's liar, liar. And then he gets socked in the face, and everybody's been real nice. Well, that's because your boobs are huge. I mean, I want to suck them. I mean, no, what did he say? He's like, I mean, I want to squeeze them.
Yeah.
Mama. And then he gets smacked.
Oh,
yeah, Homelander's
boy.
fucking weirdo.
Jim Carrey. Shouts to Jim Carrey.
God, just the best.
He's one we need to do on our top 5.
Oh, yes. At some point we will. Okay, but we meet Grace Mallory, who I think is going to become a bigger and bigger character moving forward into season 2. She's the one who founded the boys, apparently, who set Butcher on his path to take out Homelander, which she now says is like her biggest regret of her life or whatever. But she does give Butcher the Madeline Stillwell tip that if anybody knows Homelander's weakness, it's this woman. They have a special relationship. It's fucking weird. She doesn't go so far as to tell Butcher like that she calls him her special little boy and sweet boy and all that shit, but she tells them their relationship is strange, maybe sexual, that they don't know the ins and outs. If anybody has a loophole or an angle on Homelander, it's going to be her. So Butcher goes to see Madeline Stillwell, and we'll get there in a second. Jumping back, Annie approaches her mom and I guess calls her out for allowing Vought to turn her into a superhero, calls her out for taking her to a company and allowing them to pump her as a baby full of drugs that would turn her into the freak she is today, as she says. And her mom is straight up with her, like, it wasn't even money. She didn't, because she says, how much did you get? She didn't even get any money. It was all about giving her daughter an opportunity at a special life.
Yeah.
Is at least what she tells her, right? And it's sort of the beginning of the episode of Starlight, like, just finally making a decision about who she wants to be, right? By the end, she's saving Huey and taking steps to stop A-Train from killing Huey, and has all but joined the boys. Maybe not all the way, but...
Not all the way yet.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
But she's on the path.
It seems like it. It seems like it.
Yeah.
I feel like going forward, she's likely to be more of a double agent, right?
Right.
They might as well keep her in the 7.
Yeah, especially because she does call the police for them, stay behind, all that shit. But yeah, I'm interested to see where the Grace Mallory character goes from here, where Annie goes from here, being stuck there with A-Train. Let's just talk about that whole situation. So Huey and the Butcher have this big falling out. They're just fundamentally on different pages about what the point is of all this, right? Like, Huey's like, look, man, this isn't going to bring back Becca or my girlfriend. Like, this is bigger than that. And Butcher doesn't quite see things on the same way that Huey does. They have a huge falling out. They go their separate ways. Butcher, to find Homelander's weak spot in the high-ranking executive of Vought, Madeline Stillwell. Huey to risk his life to save the boys that Butcher will not. He's like, look, man, our people are being held captive. We got to go get them. And Butcher's like, nope, we got to go get Homelander. Just difference of opinion. So Huey turns himself in. He walks right past the flower van, knowing damn well they're going to pop out and jump his ass and take him into jail with these other guys, with Frenchie and Mother's Milk, and he does it.
He's playing hero ball out here.
Really playing hero ball, though. Like, really puts himself on the line. So much so that Frenchie says, like, this is the single stupidest thing anybody's ever done for me, like the most selfless thing, because you're just fucking dead now. We're all going to die. But it turns out he has a retainer. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how punching someone in the face would help remove it.
I don't think that it would. I will, I'll pick that net.
I had a problem with that. I was like,
yeah,
I've been punched in the face by a guy not nearly as big as Mother's Milk. That's not the way out. That had to have hurt like hell. It's going to be days before his face feels okay.
I think so. I think that's correct.
They didn't give him enough credit for taking that hit.
No.
But he gets in there. They use the retainer. They free Kimiko from captivity, who were they even being held by? Was this the Vought people, or was this CIA or some other government agency? I was like a little confused on.
Good question, but I think Vought.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing, or a little bit up in the air, I guess. Maybe they weren't totally clear about it. I'm not sure. Saves him from captivity. They're trying to escape. All these guards ascend on them, and then Starlight shows up and saves the day, right? Finally coming to Huey's aid and seeing the light, if you will. And then A-Train shows up out of nowhere where they were being held. I guess probably to get some V. I don't know. I was sort of under the impression maybe he was going through a bit of withdrawals here.
Oh, yeah. He's
like,
he's on it.
Or he's overdosing, one of the two, yeah.
He's just all sorts of messed up, this dude.
The dude is struggling.
He's been on lots of V. That's how he healed himself so quickly. He's already back out there dragging trains and shit.
Yes, he healed his broken bone by doing a bunch of it. He's probably overdosing is the issue. So he shows up. Him and Huey have this face-off, right, about like he admits to Huey that he's the one who killed what was her name? Bootstrap? Black Claw? Pop Claw. Bootstrap Bill. Pop Claw, he admits that he killed Pop Claw, all that good jazz, and then he has a fucking heart attack.
Yeah.
Very timely.
Right before he's about to pretty much like
run through
kill
Huey.
Everybody, yeah.
At least Huey. Huey's about to be a goner, and then A-Train did too much juice. So he goes down, and as we mentioned, Starlight makes the decision to let Huey go, use her fucking wrist protector phone to call the police.
Yeah.
And to try to save A-Train's life.
Bad idea. They shouldn't try to save A-Train.
A-Train's terrible.
He's a dickhead.
I don't think he's going to be saved.
Who killed his girlfriend.
Don't think he's going to be saved.
And also killed Huey's girlfriend and has no regard for human life. Just let that man die.
Yeah, he sucks. He's the worst. He's a dick to everyone.
It's always weird when like and I mean nobody knows until they're in this situation, but like shows love to play with like that like super righteous morality, right?
Oh,
like
of course.
I'm gonna save this man even though he's a total piece of shit. Like maybe you shouldn't. Maybe the world would be better if you didn't do that.
There has to be it's weird because that's the one thing that keeps Starlight not all the way out, right? Because if she was all the way in on the boys,
that's true.
They would have murked this fool right then and there. But she's not all the way in on the boys. She's gonna clearly stay with the
but
7.
I mean, it was Huey that's like, I can't let him die.
At first,
he's doing the CPR.
Yeah,
and then she's like, fine, I'll take over, and she calls it in, and like blah blah blah. But you're right. That's probably good for keeping her double agent status that she was there to help A-Train.
Yeah, and Huey's whole deal is going to be interesting to see going into season 2, like, because he's obviously got all these issues with violence and having blown up translucent. He's not cool with shooting people with an AK or with an AR. He's fucking screaming, "I'm sorry," the whole time he's shooting. At some point, he's going to have to take a step, right? You can't do CPR to A-Train, bro. You gotta. People are going to die. You're going to need to kill some people. They're going to be terrible people, but you're going to need to let them die. You cannot save these people. Like, he's got to take that one more step in the direction of, like, what he's willing to do to make this whole situation right.
Yeah, but he probably won't, because that'll be the difference between him and Butcher, right? Like, that's their kind of fundamental difference, is that Huey's Batman and Butcher's Joker. Yeah.
It is a little Batman-y, his whole, like, I don't want to kill. But then he's up there with the AR. I don't know. Fuck, I love this show, though, man. It really did build so well, like, towards the climax, which we will now touch on.
Yeah, let's jump into it, baby.
So, Butcher shows up at Madeline Stillwell's house and intends on getting Homelander to arrive so that he can kill Madeline with explosives in front of her in an act of payback for what he has done to, or he believes has been done to his wife, Becca. Homelander shows up and has different plans. He burns Madeline's eyeballs out with his lasers, like a face-to-face.
Which you had to see coming.
It was tight.
There was no other out here for Homelander other than to kill her.
Yes.
Like, to take the power back, to take the leverage back, he had to kill her. Plus, she lied to him about
his son.
About the son, and that was it. That was like he was.
Yeah. So when he leans in and he's whispering in her ear, did you have an idea? It's sort of like I had like a light bulb, like, oh fuck, did she lie to him about the miscarriage death thing, and then Becca and the kid are going to be out there somewhere, and then that's exactly what ends up happening. But like, that was the first time I'd ever even had a thought.
No, it still did not cross my mind then. I was just like, okay, wait. I was still trying to like, the doctor said that it was during birth,
right?
And then Stillwell said that it was a miscarriage,
right?
So I knew that there was something.
That was when she said miscarriage, I was like,
wrong
okay,
there.
Yeah, because that was a mixed story.
Yeah, but I wasn't like, oh, there's definitely going to be a kid out there,
right?
Because continue.
We're pretty much there. I mean, he burns her eyes out. Butcher hits the explosive, says "fuck it," like we're all gonna die here. Which, if you're thinking about it, Homelander was never gonna die.
Yeah, that wouldn't have killed Homelander.
It would have just killed the baby and him.
Right. So
he was committing suicide.
Pretty much.
And Homelander said no.
Right.
Drags his ass out to the lawn. We have to assume he saved her baby too, right? Maybe.
Ooh, I don't know.
You think he just let that baby go? I thought it was gonna be his baby too. Because we've seen them, now we've seen him busting her in under a minute. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's okay.
My guess is Homelander's got more than one kid out there. And then the huge finale is that he has saved Butcher and drug him out to this lawn. Turns out it's the lawn of Butcher's wife, Becca. She has been alive this entire time. She has a son. It is Homelander's son, and he is a soup. He has laser eyes. And as Homelander is telling him this, his little eyes, and and Butcher's laying there in the lawn watching this, and it is just, what a twist.
Yes, huge twist. I did not really ever see this coming. Well, many obvious first questions, so I guess they're not really the first questions. Does this mean that his wife actually did willingly sleep with Homelander? And that way there was not rape?
I think no still. Okay, I'm still thinking no, but because Homelander comes out and says,
you think she was raped?
Yes.
Okay.
I still think she was raped. Homelander tries to say, like, it happens with all of them. They get attracted to me or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He tries to paint it up in that way, and him painting it up in that way is what makes me believe it was still rape.
Okay.
I don't think he would have gotten into that unless he was trying to make Butcher confused.
So you think that Becca has kind of like
agreed to she has no choice.
Yeah, and
I think they told her, look, you got two choices. We're gonna fucking kill you, or you live out here on this in this house.
You're witness protected, basically.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
Homelander clearly knows where she's been this whole time, knows about the boy, or at least now he's found out about him.
Yeah, because he went back to the doctor and squeezed the information.
Yes,
out of
literally, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, and then they leave us with that, like, which is there's many things about this show that are gonna get crazy going into season 2. But like the fact that Butcher's take 100 times during season 1 is. They're all soups. They're all the fucking same.
Yeah.
And now he has a I guess technically zero of him.
Yeah, 0, yeah.
But it's his wife's child with Homelander.
Right.
And she's alive. And I mean, just like off my manly instinct of like what my reaction would be to being Butcher in that lawn is like, yo, that's pretty much a backbreaker. Like, you don't come back from that. So it's going to be either... I don't know what he was the angry, vengeance-driven psycho this season.
That's true. Yeah.
Now what, bro? I would murder everyone. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would die. Yeah. You would break as a man if that exact situation unfolded. You could not. It would break you.
Yeah, but I mean, and then big picture, this means we had wondered: is Homelander the original soup? Was he the only one created without the V?
Right.
And now we know. Now we don't have an answer to that, but we do know that these soups can be created without compound V now,
just through normal
sex, birth.
Apparently,
yes,
yeah.
Which is a huge revelation and will have big implications moving forward.
Massive implications moving forward. The thing, this show. It has like more to play with now than maybe any show I've ever watched in terms of scope, and I'm just really interested to see where they're going to go with it. Because
totally, it's wide open.
In terms of what all happened this season, it wasn't that much, but it was like a very slow and entertaining and incredibly exciting burn. I mean, let me rephrase that. In terms of the most important plot points, it didn't move a ton. It was relatively slow moving. There's a shit ton of other stuff that happens. Smaller plot points, exciting, crazy shit. But in terms of the big picture, it was relatively slow moving, and I'm just really excited to see where.
No, that's a good point. I think in a lot of ways, it's almost like that's almost a nod to like the first movie for comic book series in general are usually like origin stories essentially. Yeah. And so that's kind of what we got here is just like the setup,
how this came to be.
Yeah.
Here's a quote I wanted to give from showrunner Eric Kripke about the Homelander's soup son with Becca. Okay, he said you have this kid who's half human and half monster, half the person Butcher loves most in the world and half the person Butcher hates most in the world. That's just too perfect a character to not keep alive. So I guess they in the process of writing it, they were like, yeah, we have to bring that and make that. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, it's a complicated angle. It's going to be a really tough one to get me to bite on. And I'm interested to see how they do it. But all in all, season 1, fantastic. The Boys was everything I had hoped it would be. It was a fresh, cool angle on superheroes and the anti-hero shit. And it's enough of a differentiation from Watchmen to where I appreciated it and cannot wait to dive in to season 2, Barrett.
Yeah, indeed. I'm with you, man. It was good. I appreciate everybody recommending it to us and making us watch. And yeah, man, I was on the edge of my seat. It was one that I wanted to go home and watch, and I'm looking forward to season 2.
This episode of OCC is also brought to you by Manscaped, a fantastic company who is finally providing men with the tools we need to properly maintain our downstairs mix-up. So if you're using a terrible and incorrect tool with which to trim or groom your pubic region, you buffoon, do not feel bad. This is a common issue for men. Most guys do not know which products to use to clean themselves up. For me in the past, I would retire my old electric facial hair razor and try to use that as a body hair tool, and that's not what that's made for. You end up with nicks and cuts and snags, and you hate yourself. Don't do that. Go with Manscaped. Get yourself the Lawnmower 2.0, their complete landscaping system. The Lawnmower 2.0 is a rechargeable, waterproof trimmer with skin-safe technology for a nick-free trim. It's fantastic. Their entire product line was created specifically for a man's distinctive grooming needs below the waist, featuring formed products to cleanse, moisturize, and deodorize your smelly balls. Manscaped also offers tools engineered to give every gentleman a close, refined appearance, empowering men by providing the right tools for the right job. Clam fam, to learn more about Manscaped's revolutionary products, visit manscaped.com, Manscaped, manscaped.com. And when you use the code OCC at checkout, you'll get 20% off your entire order. That's manscaped.com, code OCC for 20% off. Your balls will thank you. Bumblebee Tuna. Barrett, quickly, let's you know what? You want to save our top 5 for next week and talk about this Jeremy Renner shit right quick?
Yeah, we should talk about the Jeremy Renner stuff. Also, just one quick note. You are right. This was in our notes here. We're down a few on the 7. So that is definitely one thing that we will look forward to for season 2 is they definitely are going to bring in some new soups.
Yes, sorry.
Us.
Yes. Yes, there were actually 2 notes at the end that I skipped here. 1, going to be interesting to see how we get back to 7, or if we are 7.
No, I bet we'll get back to 7. That seems like guaranteed.
Yeah, it'd be stupid to take it down to like 5 and not use those holes to put in new characters, new exciting characters. And then also, I mentioned the character from Breaking Bad, played by Giancarlo Esposito, who is now playing Mr. Edgar, the character that we have to assume is going to be at least maybe not handling Homelander, but responsible for appointing whoever is. Mm-hmm. And he is the guy who Madeline Stillwell was about to step up into his job. He had invited her to the 82nd floor and all that shit, blah, blah, blah. But now she's gone. Yeah. But we've been introduced to Gus Fring. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgar. And he is going to be the one who takes us forward in terms of Vought. Yeah. I'm interested to see where that goes as well. Yeah.
Love Giancarlo Esposito. Yes, but okay, Jeremy Renner goes batshit. Let's talk about this.
So first of all, he's been having the worst year of all time already. The Jeremy Renner app thing was one of the most embarrassing debacles maybe in the history of Hollywood, just stupid as it could possibly be.
Can you just give me like the elevator pitch on exactly what this
he created
for those that aren't aware about the Jeremy Renner app?
Jeremy Renner created an app called the Jeremy Renner app that was for Jeremy Renner superfans, which he calls like Renners or some stupid dumb shit. And it was essentially Instagram, but with only Jeremy Renner fans and only Jeremy Renner posting. And what happened is it went from like, this has existed for a very long time, and you could purchase stars within this app to boost your comments on his posts, so that the idea being there are too many Renner fans. If you boost your comment with stars, perhaps the real Jeremy Renner will see it.
This is so phenomenal.
You have no idea
that there was a market for a Jeremy Renner app.
Oh my God. It turns out people are even lonelier than we imagined. I mean, there were thousands of real people on here. Then the beauty of it is
the trolls got it.
It got flooded with a billion trolls, and people were hopping in there with like serial killer names, and it got really, really, really funny. Yeah. And then the whole thing got shut down, and he like refunded 60 days worth of Jeremy Renner stars and shit. I mean, he was up there putting pictures of himself like rock climbing, and it'd be like, "Happy Ren's Day, everyone." He tried to make Ren's Day a thing. Then so the app gets shut down. And then at some point during this year, you've been watching television, perhaps an NFL game, perhaps baseball, and then a fucking, Toyota commercial comes on?
Yeah, commercial. Yeah.
And Jeremy Renner is inexplicably in the commercial, but more so
with his band, right? In a band.
He's performing a single off of his rock album.
Yeah.
In conjunction with like Jeep or some shit.
Yeah. Did you also know that Jeremy Renner has prior to all this, he's like, I don't actually like acting, or it's like not my favorite thing to do. What I really like to do is flip houses.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. He's also like a big house flipper. That's like his real passion is flipping houses. Okay, go on.
How many passions can you have? Acting, music, house flipping? How is there time?
Making apps.
Making apps.
For
and
yourself.
Just for the record, I believe wholeheartedly that what happened is Renner has a very shitty squad, okay? This guy's got a shitty circle. He doesn't strike me as the greatest fucking person on the planet. His squad, not great. At some point, somebody in the squad says, "Jeremy, bro, we've got to make an app. Everybody's making apps. We'll have stars. People can pay to try to... It'll be Ren's Day every day." And Jeremy was like, "Fuck yes, dude. Let's do it." And then that turned into this. But the big news today was that Jeremy Renner's ex-wife has come forward and in a court of law, I believe, is accusing him of drug abuse, verbal and physical abuse, and at one point allegedly putting a gun in his own mouth and then firing it up into the ceiling while their daughter was in the house.
Yeah, that's some psycho shit.
In so many words, she has accused him of being a totally abusive fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
And it goes from like, ha, Jeremy Renner is the laughingstock of Hollywood to like, oh, good, another A-list fucking scumbag who thinks he can hit on women and shit. Maybe. Yeah. Look, I don't know what happened here. This is all alleged up to this point, and the story broke literally today, literally on TMZ, which, as we all know, is a very dramatic and not always accurate news source. But no matter what, at this point, I have been pulled from Jeremy Renner fanhood. I went from being a Renner, or a Ren star, or whatever the fuck he called him, to fuck this guy. This guy is trash.
Yeah. I think that it's not all that surprising given all of the.
I know, but only when you start to look back at it.
But obviously in hindsight, it's like, oh man, I can totally.
This is the don't ever meet your heroes thing, dude. Because like it sucks because you become fans of athletes and actors and actresses and in some cases, if you're really fucked up and weird, politicians. And then they do things and you realize like, oh, this person is not the person I thought they were. And then you start to think and you're like, well, I never knew him anyway. Like, how did I ever have an idea of who they were?
Right.
And it's like, maybe we should just enjoy the fucking movies and leave these people alone because they suck. A lot of them do suck. Yeah. Anyway, Jeremy Renner, you're out, dude. I'm sorry. We had a good run. I liked your Bourne movie. I thought you did a good job with the Bourne franchise, but you fucking suck and you're out. This is me officially canceling Jeremy Renner.
Oh, wow. You're
canceled. From my own life. From only my own life. I cannot make that decision for anyone else.
Now you can't watch the Avengers movies, though, because he's Ironhawk or whatever they call him.
I never was. Oh, by the way, it turns out...
what is Hawkeye. I was close.
Ironhawk. It also turns... Apparently, he said like some racist shit on film, on camera before, and some homophobic stuff as well. Like, I just started digging today, and I was like, "Why was I ever on board here?
Yeah.
What was I doing on the Jeremy Renner ship? How did nobody save me from this long ago?" And that will do it for today's episode of OCC. Huge thanks to our sponsors again for supporting the show. Make sure you support them to support us. And if for whatever reason you do not want or need the greatest products known to man, which are brought to you by the sponsors of OCC, you can support us directly by going to patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles, where again, if you did not watch live on twitch.com/BossRollin, shouts to all of you who did, then there's only one place you'll be able to catch this video, and that's on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. Every week, the idea being that, by the end of 2019, not 2020, by the end of 2019, we want to be streaming every single episode live on Twitch, and then we want to have every single episode after the fact with video. Barrett, stop fucking with the camera. Live on Patreon, and it is a whole different element, like being able to fucking see yourself.
It's like we're on it's like a radio show. I feel like we're Mike and Mike.
We are Mike and Mike. That's exactly who we are. Except we're the television and film versions, and I need to put on some weight if I'm going to be the Mike Golick.
Oh, right.
He's the big fat one, right?
He's the bigger one.
I'll try to get back to Fat Bill for you at some point in 2020. Not in 2019. I'm enjoying the thin. What else? Oh, movie club's on there already. Joker, Righteous Gemstones coming later this week.
Yes.
Fleabag Season 2 is coming up. Hotline Call Extravaganza. And again, when you sign up on Patreon today, you get our entire backlog of content from everything that you've missed. Obviously, you didn't get it when it came out. You didn't get to enjoy it in a timely fashion like all the good patrons in the Mollusk Militia and Crustacean Nation did. That being said, you can still go back and get caught up if you've got the time. So do it. Patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles, where video is going to be every week. Every fucking week. Not as soon as next week. No promises. Producer Mike, sitting 5 feet from me, still crushing it and still working out some of the kinks. But soon, video every single week. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at Oysters, Clams, Cockles, on Twitter at Clams and Cockles, Facebook.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. You can follow me, Ross Bolen, at WRBOLEN on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and then on Twitch, twitch.com/BOSSROLEN. It's Ross Bolen with the B and the R reversed. I'm a creative genius. Barrett, where can everyone follow you and hear more of your voice?
They can follow me on social media at Instagram and Twitter at Barrett Dudley. And then check out my other podcast. It's called Club Cool. You can find it wherever you're listening to OCC. I host it regularly with one Phil Battaglia.
Philly.
And we talk about style.
Oh.
And pop culture as it were, and how it shall shall be.
It shall be.
It shall
and
be.
so it was.
And so it was.
Phil,
and so
Phil
that,
Barrett's,
and so that podcast was.
Barrett's co-host on Club Cool, for those of you who don't know, little tidbit, was my big brother in my fraternity in college, and he is roughly 1.5 feet shorter than me. It's just a weird dynamic that we had, me and Phil. Great dude.
It's funny because he was your big brother.
Yeah.
But he's shorter than you.
But he's my little friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he? What? You want to go home?
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, we're done here. Thank you all for supporting us. Thank you for watching on Twitch for the first time ever. Look at me. Look at me wave my arms. If you can't see me, if you can only hear me, I apologize. Go watch on Twitch. Actually, Patreon. You missed it on Twitch. Sorry. Adios, muchachos.